You're listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast.
You're listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast. My name is Shawn Wilkie, and along with my awesome co-host, we interview the innovators in the veterinary space every week. Ivan, why don't you go ahead and introduce today's guest?
Hi, my name is Ivan Zak, and we're interviewing today Maciej Wojcik. He is the Director of Sales and Business Development at VetMedSolutions, and he carries the Bachelor of Business Administration from the Wilfrid Laurier University. I believe that's in Kitchener in Ontario, because I live nearby. And the topic, we're going to talk about the recovery garments. And from the personal side of things, Maciej is bilingual in English and Polish, and he was a semi-finalist at the university in the entrepreneurship competition.
Awesome. Well, it's really great to have you, Maciej, on the podcast. We've been friends for a couple of years, and I really think what you guys are doing is truly innovative. You know, it's a solution that hasn't been used by anybody else as far as I'm concerned, and I know you're a young guy from Canada that's really eager to kind of grow his business and get out there and show people what you guys are working on. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, guys, for the introduction and the overview of my background. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm really excited to be able to join you guys on the podcast here.
So the traditional e-collar, the veterinary cone, has been around forever. They're big, bulky. I've seen my brother's dogs, my friends' dogs have them on. And you guys have really kind of, I guess, revolutionized that with a new approach. And so I guess before we start, talk to us a little bit about what exactly you do and why it's innovative and why it's unique in the industry.
Right. So we actually started the business with my dog, Sarah. She was a Labradoodle, and she had to wear the e-collar. And, her being a puppy and getting her space surgery, those two just didn't work out well. She was full of energy. The e-collar was being banged around the house. At that time, my sister was very little. So, it's almost like a weapon, this e-collar, being around her house. And our veterinarian actually recommended using like a onesie or a t-shirt instead of the e-collar. And we tried that, but it's obviously not meant to protect the wound and be worn on the pet. So it didn't work well, and we started to innovate and create our own design in partnership with animal hospitals. And the current version of the product, after I went through various prototypes in the early stages, is called the Spooter shirt, and that's short for spay-neuter shirt. So that's kind of been the base of our company. It's a recovery gown that you can use for spays, neuters, abdominal areas, any other incisions, hot spots that you need to protect. And currently animal hospitals offer it to their clients as an option to the e-collar. Some just include it into the cost of surgery because they find that the e-collars just don't work well, and people don't like the cones, so they kind of just put them into the cost of surgery. Since then, we've kind of branched off our line that we call the VetMed Wear line, short for veterinary medical wear. And we have all types of dressings and recovery options from the hip and thigh, the shoulder, for the neck, upper body, for the head. Basically, any area that you need bandaged or covered, we have a solution in a sleeve for you.
I'm looking at your website and some of the wear, and because it's not a visual show, my first impression that some of them look really cool. It does look like a human gown that you put on in the hospital that has a split in the back so everybody can see your butt, but looks quite interesting. That's quite innovative.
Exactly, and the first gown we created was actually like a medical teal green color. So the first thing that people said, oh, it's a hospital gown for pets.
Exactly.
So that's the first kind of reaction we would get. Shawn also asked in his first question, what makes it, different about and special than like say another t-shirt or other products on the market. And when we started developing the Spooter shirt, what we quickly learned is animal hospitals, they don't like carrying stock. They want to keep their stock as low as possible because it just makes it easier for their team to manage, easier to put it on in size. So what's unique about the Spooter shirt is that it's unisex and universal. So when you receive the product, depending on how you adjust and configure it, you can use it for male or female. And you can also use it for cats, dogs, or rabbits. So from the vet's point of view, they only need to carry about 7 sizes as opposed to having, let's say, 30 or 40 different variations on every single size and pet, which would just be a logistical nightmare for the practice manager to try to keep in stock.
It sure is the pain in the butt to assemble a e-collar when you're trying to release an animal going home and trying to get them all flipped and plugged in. So I definitely see the point. So who are your main customers? Are you mostly, because you're based out of Canada, are you mostly in Canadian market, or do you see the traction anywhere else? And how long you've been on the market as well?
We are from Canada, so we did start in the Canadian market by launching at a veterinary conference in Toronto, and that's where we first really started to get traction. We primarily sell to animal hospitals, but we do also sell to pet owners. It's really a product that is to be sold to the hospital because they are the point of sale for the surgery, and they can offer the solution for them there. So that's been our whole strategy since then. But we have expanded to the U.S. market, and we've been there for a few years now and cover all the major U.S. veterinary conference. And we definitely see the traction picking up from both the awareness on the veterinary community and also the pet owner community. I've heard some pet owners coming into clinics and they tell some of our clients that they don't want the surgery unless they have this down on because they have past experiences using the e-collar. They know it's a headache and they really just want something that's more comfortable for their pet. But we have been doing this now. The first prototyping actually began in 2011, but we just brought it to market in 2015, and that was in Toronto. And then 2016, we started expanding to the U.S. markets, and we're actively looking at the UK and Australia and rest of Europe as well as next potential markets.
That's very interesting. And I was just thinking about you're revolutionizing the e-collar, and our colleague, Dr. Andy Rourke, used that as the part of his show in the e-collar. I wonder if he's going to try one of your garments for his show. That would be interesting. Can you, because we're talking about entrepreneurship here, and we're talking about how do you start your business and specifically in veterinary domain. So how did you go about it? You have a product, so it's a physical product, it's not software, and then you came up with the idea. Can you talk about the development of the company? So what was the first prototype look like? What did you guys made it off? Was it like a T-shirt or someone else, sweatpants that you guys cut up with your sister? And, what was the steps from that to being, successful, couple markets, selling the product, making it in, where do you outsource your production? Any of the information that is not proprietary, how you take it from idea and how did you get here?
Yeah, I'd love to give that background. So in the very, very, very early beginning, when we found our dog wasn't tolerating the e-collar, we just tried anything. We're like, let's try to use a small towel so that way you can cover the spay incision. And we kind of wrapped it around. Then with our veterinarian recommending like a onesie or t-shirt, that's exactly what we did. We went to Walmart. We bought like a little baby onesie and we put it on our dog, and it worked somewhat well. The problem is, it's just not designed for it. So with our products, the pet can actually urinate without having to remove it. That's important if you have a puppy that maybe isn't trained. So we realized that there are some important features and elements that we needed to add to the product for this to actually make it a product that people would want to buy, and especially in the veterinary community where they're looking for certain features. So the first thing we did learn is the product needs to be breathable. It can't be something that's going to prohibit healing. When you're putting on an e-collar, the wound is actually fully open, so it has full breathability. So what we started experimenting is with 100% cotton-based fabrics that are very light and breathable, yet durable, because when you have, especially larger pets walking around in these, you don't want them to just easily rip and come off. And so we really work closely in collaboration with animal hospitals. And again, one major thing, a bump we ran into, is the sizing. Immediately, clinics were asking us when we approached them with this idea, it has to be a product that's simple to size, put on, or else it's just going to be, again, that logistical difficulty trying to stock and carry the item. So that's when we came up with the tie string design over the top. It eliminates all width inaccuracies because we now make sizing length-based. So we always tell clinics, if you just want to, measure this product on a pet, you just take the distance from the midline of the front, midline of the back leg. That gives you the right length of the gown, and then you just use the ties over the top and secure it that way. And, it also has the additional advantage that the ties on the top actually create an open top design, which further promotes the breathability. So, kind of off the beginning, we started going off that design, cotton-based, adjustable, easy to put on, and veterinarians really like that because they found that it would be easy to stock and offer to their clients. And especially with some animals, they'll be more lean, they'll be a little bit larger, and those ties make it easy to secure and adjust. And from then, it was just lots of testing, making sure that it'd be universal for different types of animals. We just tweaked the prototypes and cuts. We do have some production, since you did ask in that initial question, in Canada. And we also have some partners in Europe that help manufacture for us.
So interesting. I think, where I want to go to with the conversation next is we've had 24 episodes of our podcast. We've had all kinds of technology innovators on, but never a physical product. And so it's really interesting to think of something in the veterinary space like the cone being replaced with an innovation that it sounds like the veterinarians that use it and also clients that have experienced it are really comfortable with. And so it seems like you're at the start of, that hockey stick curve in growth. And what do you think is going to help you get past the curve in the hockey stick and really kind of see that product take off and kind of get to the next level? And where do you think you are in that curve? Are you at the beginning of it? Are you starting to kind of see, the double and triple digit growth? And what do you think it's going to take to get to that straight up growth?
That's an excellent question. So the hockey stick curve is actually something that we often compare our business to, and it is exactly what we've been experiencing in the beginning. So in the early phases, it was just a totally new idea. It's a brand new concept. We were one of the first on the market. The vet community, they had their questions, their doubts whether it would work because they were so used to using the e-collars. So a big portion of bringing this product out to the market is the education. It's showing them the product. It's an in-person demonstration that they really need to see. And I would say in terms of where we are in the hockey stick curve, we would be pretty much right at the start of the first curve. Especially in the last few months, we've been seeing just a lot more inquiries and direct responses from clinics contacting us, telling us, look, my client went online, bought your product, came into the clinic, we really like this, and we wanted to now carry it, or word of mouth or reference. So, the more of these conferences that we do, the more of it kind of has this natural organic growth. Definitely, it's helped that we have partnered with the University of Florida. We're in VCA hospitals and VA, and in partnership with other big corporate chains of clinics, since that way the products can gain exposure and awareness to a large group of hospitals, which then further kind of fuels the organic growth of the product. So going forward, we're just doing lots of trade shows. We're building a sales team so we can go clinic to clinic, do lunch and learn demonstration, and really a lot of it is educational.
Maciej, I was just at CIX in Toronto, one of the top technology conferences in Canada, and I saw this company called Rocket Bee. And so really interesting company. They build indestructible pantyhose, and they think it's an $8 billion market. They're the only company that's got the patent for this indestructible pantyhose in the world, and they are experiencing insane growth, $100,000 days in the sales of these pantyhose. And it's because nobody else has quite done it like they've done it. Now, the market for your product is not as large, but do you have any competitors that are doing the same thing? And what are you doing to make sure that you're better than the competitors if there's people in your space? Sorry about the pantyhose comment.
No worries about that. So yes, we do have other competitors. As with any category, there are dozens of different companies that make bandages, x-rays, medical equipment. So that's, of course, expected, even though we were kind of one of the first categories on the market to introduce this type of product. What makes our product really different is that it is in terms of the Spooter shirt, our abdominal garment, it is an open top design. So as I mentioned kind of previously, it helps breathability to the wound and also resolves all the sizing issues since everything is adjustable with the ties on the top. That product is currently patent pending, and it has a lot of unique features built into it. So we are fairly confident that that patent will go through. So that's kind of our most protected product there. And in terms of our other lines of products, we also have various patents that we're pending and also filing to try to keep it protected. But of course, as with every product, there's always ways to kind of go around patents and have different types of options. So, one of the things that we do that some other competitors may not necessarily do is that for a really low minimum order quantity, we do have custom embroidery that we can put onto the products. And we don't mark this up very high. We purely do this to help clinics with their branding. And we currently have a number of clinics that are using this program, and it's great for them because it's just a nice touch to have their logo onto the product. A lot of their clients are taking photos of their pets wearing this gown, so their logo is being shown on social media. So those are the type of things that we work on to keep us different and also competitive in the market.
Thanks so much for listening to the Veterinary Innovation Podcast. We're pretty social people, so you'll find us on every social media channel. Also, you can check out our website at theveterinaryinnovationpodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening.